Whenever I think of a From Software game, a couple of things instantly come to mind. The oppressive yet beautiful worlds, the sweeping soundtracks, the difficulty level, and of course, the greater-than-life boss fights. And this also applies to FromSoft's most recent title, Armored Core 6. Alongside the story of Armored Core 6, one of my biggest highlights of the game were the boss fights. The boss fights in Armored Core 6 range from quick mini-bosses that don't pose a threat to massive machines that can set you back 1 to 3 hours even. However, even if the bosses range from pushover to build check, they are all memorable in their own ways, and when put together, create an experience that feels rewarding just as it is impactful, because these bosses are tough, and the feeling you get from beating them is amazing. A quick note on spoilers, by the way. I will put spoilers for late game bosses later on in the video, but for now you should be fine, because the warning will come up later. Back to the video. FromSoft bosses are made in a way that you must learn their movesets, attack patterns, and telegraphs in order to come out on top. And this too applies to Armored Core 6. In fact, even more than other FromSoft bosses that I've played against. The bosses of Armored Core 6 aren't a joke. Many players have given their takes on the tutorial boss, saying how it wasn't balance checked or such. The way I see it, like with any other FromSoft boss, the tutorial boss teaches you an important gameplay element that will carry over across the whole game. The Tree Sentinel in Elden Ring teaches you to avoid it and come back stronger. Yobu in Sekiro teaches the importance of parrying, and the Cleric Beast enforces aggression and parrying in Bloodborne. The same can be said about the Attack Helicopter, whose core message is to use everything you have at your disposal. The tutorial mission is one of 2 missions that fixes you with a non-changeable loadout, where you are equipped with an assault rifle, missile launcher, and a plasma blade. Where I see players having a problem with the boss is the game plan they carry over from other FromSoft games, where you typically hang back and wait for the boss to come closer, and then you capitalize on their attacks. That is not the case with the Attack Helicopter, which chooses to fly around but not directly at you, since it shoots its shots from a distance. Since the fight isn't being brought to you, the game is inferring you need to close the distance and attack with the blade, which is in fact the weak point of the chopper. Armored Core wants you to learn to use all your given tools to be able to find a weak point in the bosses that can be exploited, and these tools don't just stretch over to what you're currently equipped with, but what you might have in the garage. The garage and the parts you can buy are a vital tool in improving to getting better in Armored Core. After every mission, you are rewarded with Comb, a currency used to buy Armored Core parts, ranging from weapons to generators, and you just have to start investing. You might not find a part that fits your current playstyle, but it can be a big lifesaver later on. With Armored Core 6 being mission based in its structure, typically giving you a checkpoint before a boss, you can quickly change your loadout in the menu if you're stuck on a challenge, and this is where the big build check is introduced. My personal favorite boss of Armored Core 6, the final boss of Chapter 1, Balteus. Balteus is tough. It's got a plasma shield, shoots a crazy amount of bullets at you, and a heavy missile on top of that too. Even more so, it can't keep still for more than 5 seconds, and it's got a pretty crazy second phase with a flamethrower sword. Balteus here serves as a reminder that not all builds work on all types of enemies. Sure, it is possible to use the default build to take it down, but it's encouraging you to switch up your playstyle. Plasma weapons work well against shields, but your sword might not be enough, so why not try out the bubble plasma gun that can quickly take out shields, or plasma grenades that do the job just as well. Maybe your health drains a bit too fast, so maybe equip yourself with a heavier build to tank the hits. With some experimentation and learning a slightly different playstyle, Balteus gets taken down quickly. Although on repeat playthroughs, I found Balteus to not be a challenge anymore, it's my first experience beating it that made me enjoy this boss so much because of how it taught me to play the game, and the moment the second phase started, that too was when I realized another aspect that bosses of Armored Core 6 would have: just pure awesomeness. When Balteus pulled out the flame sword and ended my run, I was floored. Not because it was absolute lunacy to give a flying mech tank a flame sword, but because of how cool the whole moment was. It was unexpected because there's no hint that it would even have such a weapon up its arsenal, and there are many more cool and outstanding moments like this from later bosses in the game. The final boss of Chapter 2, the Sea Spider, a cool looking boss that is super fast and deals massive ground damage, upon losing 2/3 of its health, decides to become a flying flower and shoots explosive coral lasers at the ground, creating huge AoE damage. It's surprising that a ground-based mech suddenly starts flying, and the presentation of its primary attack is super cool. But now I have to go into spoiler territories from Chapter 3 to the endgame, because there are tons of battles that either take you by surprise or just beyond epic, so spoiler warning over. One mission that caught me by surprise is one of the spaceport missions. You've been instructed to take out the PCA fleet, but upon starting the mission, the battle is already over, and as you move deeper into the battlefield, you see an AC, who you find out is the original Raven, the one you stole its call sign and license from on the very first mission of the game. For one, this Armored Core battle is one of the more challenging sides of these types of battles, which are easier compared to the bigger fights, and finally fighting the original Raven caught me off guard and proved to be a worthy opponent. There are more missions that can catch you off guard, but now for the epic boss fights. You already know which one I'm going to talk about, the Ice Worm. It's a gimmick boss where you have to deal damage to its shield with a specific weapon before Rusty snipes it from wherever he is posted up, and alongside you, you have 3 friendly ACs helping you take it out. Although it's not my personal favorite gimmick boss, as Elden Ring's Rykard still holds that title, the way that FromSoft presented the fight is just perfect. The radio chatter between the friendly ACs wondering if you are capable enough to take it out, and Rusty keeping you all updated on the rail cannon's power level before all sound cuts out, and Rusty saying,
"I won't miss. Watch out for friendly fire. All or nothing."
Each time he fires the cannon, followed by that massive boom. From a sound design perspective, this is probably the most cinematic and perfect sounding moment from any game that I've experienced. There are more bosses like this later on in the game, although I don't think they reach the same heights of the Ice Worm, are overall more fun to play through. The Cell 420 boss, which is Malenia just with missiles, is a spectacle in and of itself with how fast it flies around the place, and the missiles looking like fireworks really is a sight to behold. Until you die one too many times and hear Walter suffering pain from seeing you die so many times. And when I managed to take it out and I thought I had won, it just decided to come back. Crazy moment, really. Chapter 5's final bosses, the final bosses of the game, both the good and bad ending, where you face off against Walter and Air in their respective ACs. Although they don't pose the greatest challenge, fighting against characters you've come to appreciate, showing off some of the coolest looking attacks as well, makes these fights truly memorable. The Coral Beam from Walter or the Coral Blast from Air, filled with the sad dialogue and the stunning backdrops of Armored Core 6, makes both of these battles grand moments to end the game. But my second favorite boss fight in the game is the penultimate boss of the bad ending. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rusty. This fight is phenomenal. The incredible soundtrack playing in the background, Rusty fighting to stop you from destroying the Coral and destroying Rubicon along with it. Fighting against Rusty's souped up new AC is incredible. One wrong move and his dancing plasma spear can quickly take you from full health to none at all. But the moment that stood out to me from this fight was once I thought I had taken him down, he does this. It's crazy how good FromSoft made these bosses so epic. Not only are the bosses massive in size and stature, setting up this David vs Goliath feeling, creating unexpected moments of shock and wonder alongside them, but just how they make them feel like you are playing a movie and being an active participant in this grand battle of the ages. And continuing on with this trend are the new and updated encounters in New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus. Again, if you have not played and completed the true ending of Armored Core 6, this is your final spoiler warning. Right. Armored Core 6 constantly, with each new playthrough, throws new missions at you and gives already existing missions new tweaks that make the moments stand out. From the surprise of the Coral-based MTs taking down the Strider in an alternate mission, which I forgot to mention is also a standout moment on your first playthrough, to Middle Flat while joining Rusty to take you down on your first fight against him. There are more changes like this that are added with each following playthrough. Standouts for me is in the Balteus mission where Sula, the AC right before fighting Balteus, already has enemies in wait to take you down, making the fight far more difficult, or in the mission to stop the inspection, a New Game Plus Plus exclusive mission, where you are joined by another independent mercenary and you have to take down 2 PCA LTs and a Cataphract, a difficult boss on its own. It's small touches like this that make playing Armored Core 6 such a blast, as the game keeps on giving. Even the fight against the original Raven is different, as now you have to fight 2 other independents before Raven comes in to triple team you. And in another mission, you even get to kill Snail in an ambush, which is super cool, because being able to take the dude out before he even knows it, super satisfying. But far and above, the biggest change to New Game Plus is the true final boss. As a plot point, it's cool that the AI that has supposedly been helping you or just being there, turning out to be the bad guy all along, is a cool trope, adding the fact that it kinda breaks the fourth wall as it remembers your 2 previous playthroughs and takes those actions into account, and making G5 Iguazu, the jealous AC that keeps coming back and dying to your hands over and over again, being the pilot of the most powerful AC, was beautiful? Not sure how to describe it, but it was fitting. This fight is the hardest AC fight in the entire game, probably overall. Iguazu shows off some super cool moves and combines the data from all previous ACs that you've beat into one, being a super cool light show to witness. The true ending after the fight as well is breathtaking, and even after 3 playthroughs, the bosses kept surprising me with new moves, new mission structures, and the scale of it all was mesmerizing each and every time. Although Armored Core 6 does not have my favorite boss fight of all time, I would rank the best ones all pretty high as some of my favorite boss fights, and some of FromSoft's best ones yet. From the scale and sheer epicness they carry, the challenge they pose upon you to learn, overcome, and adapt, to the constant surprises the game keeps throwing at you, I can confidently say that the boss fights in Armored Core 6, as a complete package taking all of them into account, are the best. And with that, welcome to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed yet another Armored Core 6 video, as this will probably be the last one for a while. If you enjoyed the video, a like means a lot, and so too does a dislike, as they help me improve the content that I can make for this channel. I would like to hear you guys' thoughts on the bosses of Armored Core 6, how you found them, or how they compare to your favorite boss fights. Leave them down below, and if you want to see more from me, subscribe comes a long way in helping me out. With that said, I don't think there will be a video for next week. I'll still think about that, as I'll be trying to work on a video that will be a bit longer than the recent ones, but that's about it for me. Thanks again for watching, it really does mean a lot. Have a great rest of your day, night, and week, and with that, Storm out.